didn't have your headphones on. We're live. Doesn't matter. Hello. I'm going to go live on Facebook.
Go on then. Go live on Facebook. I'm just going to...
On mine so I can see comments so that...
let's do that. I need to find out. So
how are you? Look, TalkinMess is live.
Awesome. Let's get it.
Okay, there we go. We're not going to tag people. We're just going to be like, hello, how you going?
Yep. So, big facts.
So let's put the comments up here in case anybody does. But I'm going to have that in case there's any comments that come up. So hello to Shikara. I hope I said your name correct. Hello, hello, hello. Hello to whoever else is on.
What's poppin'?
Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I am going live on Facebook as well so I can see comments because not all of the comments come up on StreamYard. And we don't want to miss any of the comments. So we're going live on Facebook as well so I can see comments. So you can type them in there and say hello. Jeff and Matt is watching. Hello, 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 hello. Did you not want to try to go live on Instagram?
Yeah, cut that away.
Oh, okay, fine. Kellyanne, hello, hello, hello. Oh, yay, it's coming up. This is so exciting. I love it when technology works.
True.
I'm a little bit special when it comes to technology. I'm going to put it out there.
Special period. So you're a little special period.
Not a little special.
Can we just take some time for everyone to have a look at my new mic that I bought? I have no idea about it, but it makes me feel real special and really important, like I'm about to start announcing the news.
You are not. Who is that guy that has the show over there with and he does all of the?
His name is Eldean Demmery.
No, not you fool. That other big guy he's got the show, and he's like the one that everybody wants to be like with the.
That's Eldean.
No, that's not. You go away, you fool. Okay, so I want to give a shout out to her because I don't generally wear earrings. However, I'm going to give a shout out because this is, just let me bring it up here so that I can show you. Oh, no, oh. Oh. It's not clear. Hang on.
Just read it.
I want to show people. Okay, why isn't it clear? Okay, so I can't read without my glasses anyway. So it's Woven Things by Tisha. So that's her. That's her handle on. Is her handle? Is that what you call it? A handle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a handle on Instagram. The feathers, just beautiful. I'm not an earring type of person. I love earrings. Generally, they make my ears sore, though. However, this isn't. So go and have a look at her stuff. It's just brilliant. I spent some money there. I probably shouldn't have, but, So I'll be doing a shout-out because I love to support women in business. So anybody who's got stuff for sale.
Anyone who's anyone.
Hello, Miss Bronwyn. How are you? I had a great weekend. Thanks very much. I don't know if Son had a good weekend. Did you have a good weekend?
I did, actually. What did I do? I had some clients who came and trained with me, which was awesome. Big shout outs. Man, they made it look real easy. Just like weapons all across the board. So then today, just listening and double downing on podcasts and doing things to try and help the business grow, but also just moving forward, getting little tips and tricks and ideas from like millionaires who've in positions where I want to be. So it's really just been learning all this weekend, and then I just finished up a bike ride like half an hour ago.
Oh, excellent. You didn't go over any like bunny hops and stuff like that you wasn't supposed to fall off?
No, not this time. I'm a little traumatized because I ate it last time. So
okay.
Took it real steady and was more just about getting out in the open, just clearing my head a little bit, and then listening to this podcast that one of my clients put me on. So big shout outs to him. The podcast itself is actually, let me just bring it up for you.
Yes, we want to give a shout out to that so we can listen to it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's called the Small Business big marketing by Tim Reed. So like big shout out to him, and he's got people from Jeff Bezos' right-hand man, or who used to be, and just really just tips and tricks from those like tycoon kind of companies, but also down to the level of just average everyday Joes. So it's really just picking it out, and what works for me, awesome. If it doesn't, that's awesome too.
Okay, cool. Well, I coloured my hair because, you know, like it's all about not going grey. Although I'm not overly happy with the dark, I have to say. You know, like I've got some, I might have to recolour. So, you know, like it's a work in progress. Loving the red, like let's be real. So that's worked well. I'm still not 100% sure, you know, but that's one of those things that just continue to roll. But I'm sure people didn't join to listen to me talk about my thing. Although I did see, I had a session with my coach today, which was
awesome. How was it? And how was that?
It was OMG. You know how sometimes, and you would get this because you would do it with your clients, how people tell you a lot of times the what, you know, so this is what you have to do. You have to like work out. Okay, that's great. That could be just like a whole lot of stuff. But I think the thing that's different is you take people through stuff. So you give them the how. So you're going to do the bike for 30 seconds and then you're going to punch things for another 30 seconds. So you give them the how. Most of the coaches that I've had and most of the women's groups that I'm in and stuff, they always talk about the what. So this is what you need to do. You need to put your products out there.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. I need to know like the how. You need to walk me through it. Like take my hand and say, so this is what you do. And then you do this. And then you need this. And then you need to do that. That's the type of person I am. Because once I've got it one time, like I'm good to go. But most of them, they don't do that because you generally have to pay for the how, which is fair enough. So I had my how session today, which was brilliant because now I've figured out, right, lo and behold, how to take all of the knowledge that I have and bring that to the online space. Because as you know, I run training programs in person.
True.
I have quite a lot of information that I have recorded over the years that's actually just like sitting there. And so we sort of talked about how you can take that and give people a first step. So what do they do to start with? And much like you do with your quick start program, getting people moving quickly, this is going to help them. So I was having a yarn with her and she was like, so do you have some content and stuff? Because, you know, that's normally the thing. And I said, oh, yeah, I have a couple of videos. Like I have some content and stuff. She said, great, writing it down. So great, how many videos do you have? I said 80. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I have about 80. So she was like, oh, for goodness sake. Well, clearly content is not your problem. It's about how to like take that. So getting the whole, okay, so now I have an action plan to move forward was actually really helpful because it's the simple stuff that moves the needle forward, as you've said before, that you just do the little tiny things step by step, which moves you forward. So that for me was just like the bee's knees because it's like, I have a plan. Like I have a step forward. I can do that. And I'm technologically challenged, as you know.
I do.
So I'm kind of needing to learn some of the online stuff. Like MailChimp, stay away from MailChimp because that's terrible. I've watched the reviews.
Okay.
So I'm watching YouTube to find the better ones.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it was I was so excited. I was like, yay!
Awesome.
So that was me. So then I coloured my hair and then read some of my thesis. So, you know.
Fun times.
Fun times. So what's your plan for the week?
My plan is to go through and just obviously I have clients for the group classes. I have my PTs one-on-ones, a few new clients and existing for the quick start. yeah, it's really just going through those, evaluating what works, and then always continuing to try and move the needle forward and give them as much knowledge as I can to get them to a place where they don't need me and they can do this to the best of their ability, or going on and finding someone who's better than I am, that can give them more than I can. So it's always obviously building myself by building others to then go off and find their new path, new adventure with new teachings and everything, and just continue to build on that.
Yeah. So Miss Candace says, makes all the difference with a way forward. Oh my God. Like, you so need a way forward. We all need a way forward. That's kind of like the whole thing in life, because everybody's leading everybody at some point with having the steps to move forward.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely 100% agree. And hello, Miss Leanne Marie.
Howdy.
Hope you both have a great week. Yes. This week coming, the one that's just gone. Let me just get my flick right.
Yeah.
That's important. Mate, it is. You know that it's so important. Like, that's just one of those things. So, how was your last week?
My last week was a little bit. It was different from my norm. So, in the fact that I wasn't purely just all about the business, I was like a few things that kind of like occupied my mind and not really bringing it back to me. And whoa, what just happened there? Can you still hear me? See me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you.
Awesome. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, like I was kind of all over the shop mentally and was thinking like too far in the future, where like that's good and needed, but that doesn't help me right here, right now. So I really went off, had a little tangent, went and did my thing and stuff like that, and it got me to a place where I was outside of my lane and needed to bring it back, which was an awesome realization, but also like how fast and how quick I can get caught up in searching and looking for shiny objects when I need to just double down and stick within my lane and my lanes.
Absolutely. Miss Kellyanne Johnson said you also need to find your why.
That's it. Like everything's all about your why, and how's simple. Like how just comes along at the drop of a hat when it's meant to. If you get super clear on your why, like everything else is just minor details, because it will just flow and pop into your life. And it's, well, I know for me, it's just stupid easy how it can fold and manifest into once you have that why in place.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to actually go and try and go live on Instagram real quick. Hang on. But yeah, I'm going to try. It could fail horrible.
How? Okay, so hi everybody. It's just while we're waiting for him to sort himself out and get the thing going there. And yes, so your why will get you out of bed on those cold mornings.
Freezing
cold mornings. Yeah. Like you need to have that why, because I think that's what keeps the fire going. Keeps fire stoked.
Have you got comments?
Yeah, so I'm reading off the comments. So I have the comments, which is coming up on StreamYard. Yay. And then I've also seen the comments on Facebook as well, which is great. So we're doubling down on them, which is fantastic.
It's another one of my little gadgets that I bought.
Really, what other gadget did you buy?
This thingamajig here.
Oh,
yeah, it's like
that looks pretty funky.
It's like 5 things in one. So, man, this is so not professional, hey.
Well, can you move it out so we can see your big face? Because right now it's like in your face. There you go. That way. You can. And it needs to be like straight up and down. It can't be sideways, doesn't it? Because otherwise then you're sideways or something.
I don't know how technology works.
Like I think that should just work. And then people should be able to hear me because you don't have headphones on. Remember last time Dulce had headphones on and then nobody could hear me because it was going in your ear.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, keep going. Any more questions?
No, so there are no questions. Is that you just need to move it over just a little bit. There you go. A little bit more. There you go. Otherwise it's in the thing and I can see it and it's going to annoy me.
Cool.
Is it going live?
It says pause due to bad connection. Let's take off Wi-Fi then. Let's go. See if that works. No. There we go. So
it will come and it will fall in and out. That's what it does. Is it going?
I do believe so. Yes, it says we're live.
Oh yes, Demos Boxing started a live video. Oh, that's you. How cool is that? I'm not going to watch that because I'm here.
Yeah, cool. Don't do that. So yeah, let's just we'll kick it off again. So for the people who are watching on the gram, big shout out to you guys. So this is as it says in the top left-hand corner, TalkinMess. It's exactly what the name is. So there's nothing really professional about what we do here. It's just let's go back and how did we actually kick this off? Do you remember? And do you remember why we did this?
Yeah, well, yes, because I was doing a video because we were in. I don't even know if it was. Yeah, you were here, so it must have been COVID.
Yeah,
and I was doing a live video in my other office, and I was sitting on the floor, and you came down and said hello, and I was doing a video, and then I said to you, "Oh, you should come and jump on the video," and you were being friendly that day, and you said, "Sure," in that book, sure. And so then you come and sit on the floor, and then we just like started talking stupid, and then for some reason people enjoyed it. And said, like, you should do that again. And then we were like, okay, let's do it again, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, really just like, and then we've gone through it before. And for me, why I stuck around was the fact that this is like a video library for when you're gone. This is something that, one, I can look back on, but two, pass on to my kids when that happens. And if people get tips and tricks along the way, like, brilliant. If not, and you just want to hear us talk some stupid, yes, I don't know why you would, but yeah, like, definitely jump on, and we feel we throw a few little tips and tricks in there as well. If it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, that's awesome too. So it's really just I wanted to do it from a place of this is something that I'll always have once you guys are gone and they're not here. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I would encourage other people to do the same thing because it's a great thing. I was going through looking for content to see if there was more than the 80 videos, and I found a video that I did with my nan, and it was so funny because, like, I've still got it and I'm going, Nan, and she's trying to tap the thing. It was so funny, and like I still have that, and every time I watch it I laugh. And of course Nan's gone now, but it is so cool because I've got that which I can then get back on and and watch and stuff. And so I think that's really cool for people to do that, to start recording, because once it's gone you don't have it. And Thankfully for you, your grandkids are going to have a lot of content of me talking. Like just they're going to be like, oh, please don't bring any more Mima. Please don't bring any more Mima out because it's too much. It's too much.
Get him to turn it off. But no,
that's right. Yeah. So Keegan says you've come leaps and bounds, bro. Good to see how much you've grown. Aww, that is so cute.
It's been a quick minute, and especially for those that that knew me, what up, boo? Knew me back then to how I am now, like 100%. Like I've gone like what I feel like the wrong way for ages, and like not for anyone's fault other than it just happens. So getting to the spot where I am now, yeah, definitely a new man, but the old one at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it also worked really well because we were able to take a lot of ideas and get clarity on it just because we were talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, like we talk about stuff and it's like, oh my God, that's a great idea. We should so do that. Or please don't do that ever again. We're not going to talk about that. Or, you know, and of course, all of your friends love me and think I'm funny. So it's like standard.
They do actually a little bit, truth be told.
They do. Like, have you met me?
I have actually. And I'm going
to You're the lucky one. People say, Eldean, you are so lucky. It's like,
that's what they say.
That's what they say. Like, that's it. Are you drinking Powerade too? I'm drinking Powerade.
No, I got water. And I got a protein thing. So, what did you want to talk about? Did we have anything written down that you wanted to talk about this week?
Yeah, I guess one of the things is that I'll just, because last week we talked a fair bit about you and stuff, and some of your new people and followers and stuff don't know me that much. So we'll talk about that. And then I think we'll sort of talk a little bit about some of the challenges of the last week and how we overcame them, because I think that both of us had different things that we overcame on the week. I feel like I have long hair. You know how, well, actually you wouldn't know, but like girls with like long hair, you know, like they're always moving it. So I feel like I can just like flick my hair. It's just, unless I feel like something's crawling on me, then I'll start screaming, which is quite possible as well. Let's be real. So for those that don't know me, so my background is trauma, and basically it's trauma because I had a lot of my own overcome addictions with drugs and alcohol, and decided that I wanted to go on a path to heal, because, hello, Miss Liz, I wanted to heal the path that my grandkids were going to end up down if I didn't do something, and they're not even here yet. And so I decided that I needed to get myself together and go on my healing journey. And then once I'd gone on that, I wanted to be there to help other people who were going through that healing journey, because I actually had to go and find people. It wasn't really available. So I had to go and find some people who would be able to help me to be able to heal. And so I want to make it easy for people who are ready to do that, so that they don't have to go searching as hard, I think.
Yeah.
Because when you're ready, it's great.
Yeah. How did you deal with those initial steps of trying to find people in the dark, really, where you physically had to go and search them out and then go through the tireless effort of getting through a couple of sessions and then realizing these people weren't for you, and then you're like 2 to 3 steps backwards because you've started to work through some things. The trauma stuff gets real heavy and it's ugly trying to heal. How did you deal with that and then continuously to push?
I guess one of the big things for me is that I was in a place where I was desperate, and finding the help was kind of like finding, like, it was just like oxygen. I needed to go and find it. And it was interesting because I had one person that I went and stayed with, and it cost me money. It cost me a lot of money. I had to actually pay it off. But I knew that that the other option was just not going to be an option. So I had to find the way to go and do that. And then found someone who was just so beautiful and loving and so incredibly helpful. Both of them were in their own way, and it's tough because people want you to succeed. They just don't want you to succeed to the point where they are able to witness your success, because it reflects back on them that they don't have success. So I want you to win, but I don't want to see you winning, because if you're winning, then that shows me that rather than going, you're winning, how the hell did you win? What did you do? They go, oh, you're winning. Oh, I don't like that because I'm not winning, or I don't want to change, or I don't want to do that thing. So I'm just going to like make it all about you being a big noter or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to going, so tell me, like, how did you do it? Where did you go? What did you do? First steps, like, what is the thing? Like, you know, people didn't say that. And the thing about healing is it's very lonely.
It is.
Like, at the end of the day, you can stay in with your clique and continue to do the things that you do. But when you decide that you're going to change, it gets very lonely, because generally you will be the only one who will decide to change. Very, very rarely do people in a group, 2 or more of them, go, you know what, I think that we should give this up, whether it's drinking or smoking or gambling or whatever. I think that we should give this up. Let's do it together. You know, that's generally not how it happens.
How did you deal with that when you were stepping out? Obviously, as you said, like in the family, we have a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, and it's that it's that intergenerational thing where it wasn't just obviously you went through yours, but it wasn't just, you know, your mother and father. It was your nan and pop, and then after, like, I remember before that, it was nan and pop from back in the day. How did you deal with all that? Well, knowing that, like, hey, I'm going to be like swimming by myself in the ocean when there's a whole bunch of sharks that are like, oh, well, you're by yourself, you're a big noter, you're going to do this, and you don't want to be like us. How did you step outside and into that?
So there's great question. There's 2 ways in which I did that. I got used to the idea of swimming by myself. So I got okay with swimming alone. And you can see behind me I have lots of books and stuff. That's how I got through a whole lot of that. So I got used to swimming all by myself and being okay with that. The other thing, and it's exactly like Kellyanne was talking about, is the why. My why was so big that it got me to the point where spending time by myself and being the only one was okay, because my why was you, and my why was my grandkids and my great-grandkids and my great-great-grandkids, and that lineage that comes through me. And so my why was big enough for me to be able to go, you know what, this isn't just about me. And so if that means that I need to get used to spending some time alone and not being a part of the clique and the fold, which is my family, then I'm okay with that, because you need to be able to have options that I didn't have. And so, you know, I often talk about, as you know, there's books here because it's an option. You've never been interested in reading books unless it's on basketball, but the option is always there.
Yeah.
Hey?
Audio
and you listen to audio books and stuff, but it's just that became the norm. So I'm obsessed with books, and I'll get to your question in a minute, Chloe. It was an option to go, that's just normal to have books around. It's normal to listen to audiobooks. It's normal to listen to podcasts. You know, it's a normal thing to do study over the weekend. You know, like that became a normal thing. That, and it might be different because Your father loves to listen to podcasts on Supercoach. That's his thing. It's still a normal learning thing, like he does basketball stuff. It's a normal thing. He's listening to podcasts on basketball. So that whole intaking information to give you different options was very much just become the norm. And so I needed to get over myself, because if I was drowning and I was in that water surrounded by sharks, it meant that you were going to be in there surrounded by sharks as well. And your kids were going to be in there surrounded by sharks. And so that was that whole not on my watch. So if I needed to swim through those sharks, I was going to do that. And that's what I think, being a parent is about, to go, this is really uncomfortable for me, but the option is not okay that I don't do this for my next generation. And so that's why I started to do that. Exactly the same, as we've talked about, which, well, actually I don't talk about it that much at all, but I'm doing my thesis at the moment. Why? Because there's an option of study. Whether or not you choose to do it, it doesn't matter. It's still an option that's being put forward, that somebody in the family's done it.
Yeah.
So whether or not you want to, and even though you do it, you're just doing it in a different way. You've got your Cert 4, so you've done that. So you've already taken that path to go, well, that's just a natural thing. Like we're going to get a Cert 4, we'll get a diploma, we might get something else, we might not, I'm not entirely sure, but it's a natural option for you to be able to take that, rather than going, well, I don't even know how to do that. I don't know what's possible with that. And it's just about those options, I think, is really, really important to give it. And you did a post about that, trauma runs in my family until it runs into me. You've broken that cycle, because when your kids get here, there is an option for running your own business. So whether or not, again, they choose to do that, it's not the point. It's that it's an option. So I can get a job, I can start a business, I can join the military, I can travel overseas. So they're all options that people have based on what you have been brave enough to do. So you've swum through those sharks because you went by yourself.
True. Actually, let's retract that. What was your line in the sand when you said, okay, I can't have this anymore? Like, the road that I'm traveling is either going to get me hurt or locked up. What was how old were you, and what was the situation that you were in leading up to that, to actually make that decision to be like, no, I can't do this anymore?
So I was drinking every day. If my whole line of thinking was that if I could get to 12 o'clock without having a drink, I didn't have a drinking problem, because it was lunchtime, so I was fine. So if I could get to like 1 second past 12, it was lunchtime. So you can have a drink at lunch, because that's fine. So I would drink into the evening and late at night, then sleep, and then get up 11:30, have toast, coffee, and then have a drink, because it was lunchtime. So that was fine. And then I was also mixing those with antidepressants. I was using cocktails from over-the-counter medications, and, mixing all kinds of things together. And I was standing in the lounge room, and it got to a point where it was just that continual cycle, and I just was loving it so much, loving the drinking. And we were standing in the lounge room at Mum's, you and I, and we had said something, and I don't even remember what you said or what I said, but you looked at me, and the look on your face was, who are you, and what have you done with my mother? Yeah. And I still to this day don't remember the conversation, and I don't even know if that's what you thought. But that very next day, I went cold turkey, I left town, and I went and got my stuff sorted, which meant I had to leave you. I had to leave my nan as well, because I was caring for her. I had to tell my mother, I've got to go. I need to get away. She was like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, just, I've got to get out of here. So it really was about literally having to leave, and in some ways, I guess, run. But I was running towards the healing that I had to get to. And it was almost like we were swimming in those sharks, and I saw where they were parting a bit, and there was enough room for me to be able to swim towards the shore. And so I did that. And, you know, while I'm thankful that I did that because of you, that meant leaving my nan. And so I'd been, you know, caring for nan. And that meant that I had to leave her. And so it was that, you know, it wasn't an easy decision, but it was a decision that I had to make, because if I didn't, we wouldn't be sitting here having these conversations, because your path would have been incredibly different than what it is now. And so,
most definitely.
you know, and again, I think that that's what being a parent is about. You get uncomfortable. You swim through the shark-infested water. You go first. You get uncomfortable at trying new things and failing and looking crazy and all that sort of stuff, because if you don't, then how do your kids or your grandkids or your nieces or your nephews or, you know, your brothers or sisters, how do they then get to see, wow, that's an option? Well, they don't. So in terms of Chloe's question, I'll just answer that. The greatest books to start with is Ian Levan's Ants.
Yes.
So I love Iyanla. Oh my God. Can I type? Hang on, I'll see if I can spell her name.
You've muted. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. So it says that your mic's muted for some strange reason.
But I can hear me. Can anybody else hear me?
Now I'm going. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've frozen and I can't even get back.
Okay, so you're back now because I see you moving.
I can't hear you still.
Can you hear me?
No.
So Chloe said I can hear you both. Read the comment.
Okay, so I'm going to close and then I'm going to try and reopen because I can't hear you. I'm having technical difficulties again. So I'm going to close here. I'm going to go back and reset it and see if that works. We're back in 2 seconds.
You don't just want to wait because we can hear you. Hello? We can hear. Hello? I can see you. Can you hear me? Oh, so he's gone. Where did he go? So yeah, Chloe, Ian Levan's Ant. So she's got I think it's Faith in the Valley. Are you here in Canberra? Miss Chloe, are you here in Canberra? I'm not sure if you are. She's got about 6 or 7 books. I would start reading hers. The Value in the Valley. Yes, I am. Okay. I'll organise if you can. I'll drop a couple of books off to you to get you started if you like, because so this is only 2 of the bookcases. I have another 4 around the corner. If you message me later or message Eldean or whoever, however, I'll drop you off some books so that you can get started. If you like reading or if you like audiobooks, let me know and I can tell you how to get some of those. But I have books if you want to start reading those. So let me know because I have. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm more than happy to help. Like I said, I've got a whole lot, and I'd happily do that for you. So yeah, so just either, like I said, DM me or Sun, and then I'll organise to drop some more for you, because basically that's all I did. I just started, and it was just reading a couple of lines every couple of hours was how I started, because I wasn't a reader. Like I didn't read stuff. That was not that was not what I was used to, because growing up we didn't have books around us, so it wasn't a thing. And so I just kind of had to get used to that. Hi, Jean. I just had to get used to that. And so it was getting used to that and building the muscle of reading. And then I just love, I have books everywhere. That's probably my addiction now when you think about it, but I could be addicted to worse things. Oh, look, here we go. Add demo to stream. Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you now. I have no idea what the hell happened, but it's the second time, so.
Oh, okay. Well, because Chloe said she could hear us both, and I could still hear you even though your thing was frozen.
I couldn't hear you though. I couldn't. It was just muted. But anyways, yeah. What did I miss out
on? So I'm going to drop some books off to Miss Chloe. So she's either going to DM me or you. And so I'm going to drop some books off. So I'm going to drop her off some of Iana's books. So
also definitely get on to Spotify as well. Obviously, she has a tiny human, so like definitely get on to anything that's on Spotify. It's all about excuse me. It's all about moving the needle just an inch. So Spotify has been brilliant for me because I'm able to just chuck it on in the car. That's really one of my, Scotty, I got you. That's one of my things where after like 12 to 15, sometimes 16 odd hours a day, I need some time for me at the end of the day. So I may take a 45-minute drive around my tiny little city of 50-odd thousand people here, and just chuck on something on Spotify, whether it's something to do with business, whether it's just, classical instrumentals or instrumental from my favorite movie. It's all about just trying to unwind and trying to unpack some things that's either going on during the day, or if it's something that's been ongoing for a couple of days or weeks, months, whatever, see if I can unpack a little bit of it today.
Absolutely. So Kellyanne said she's got to go. Thanks so much for watching and listening. So she's doing a fig jam. I don't know what that is, but
no idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So she's making fig jam. Is that okay, but anyways, cool. Thank you. Yeah. So you can listen to podcasts for free. You know, there is so much free information out there. If you like to hear stuff, YouTube, oh my Lord, you can listen to just about anything on YouTube. Spotify, whether it's a song, music, whether it's meditations, whether it's like podcasts, audio books, like whatever. If you want to pay for stuff, there's Audible. But yeah, to get started, it's about consuming the information in the way that works best for you. So I like to sit and read because I go into my own world. And yet when I'm driving, I listen to audiobooks as well. So I like to do both of those. But if sitting down to read doesn't work, well, then don't do that.
Definitely. And that's good. So it's all, and it's coming back to you and the individual. Like if you're like, where's the fan at? Turn the fan out of the way.
What fan?
Is there no fan?
It's my computer. I can't stop the computer. It's the heater running on the computer.
It's so loud, but anyway. All good. It's like I can't read that well. I'm horrendous at it unless I'm like super interested in it. If it's Kobe or Jordan, I just can't get into sitting down and reading because the letters start to wig out on me and they go in and out sometimes. So things like Spotify, YouTube, Audible, where you can double up the speed and stuff so you can crack out the book or whatever faster. It just helps me get that information downrange into my head so that I'm able to chop it and screw it and use it and then use it any way I see fit.
Absolutely. And that's exactly like, whatever works for you, go with that. And what doesn't, well, then don't do that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, I also like to have books because I like to highlight and I write in comments and I put little sticky notes everywhere and all that sort of stuff. But again, you need to figure out what works for you and do that. So
Big facts with that.
Yeah, so that's how that started, and I just knew I needed to do something.
When you were in that space, something that's come up for me this weekend, and it's listening to all the podcasts and everything like that. One of the things that really connected every business that jumped onto the podcast was imagination. So when you were in that state, when you were going through like your journey, when you made that decision, what was your either thought process or imagination in where you wanted to be going forward? And did that turn out to fruition, or did along the journey, did that change for you, and how so?
Great question. I guess to start with, I had no imagination about what it could be or what it would be like. I just needed to like stop and get clean. And so that was probably one of the biggest things was simply like stopping. And then after that, thinking about, for me, it was, I want to be for somebody else what Karen Smith, who I just absolutely love and adore, I wanted to be for somebody else what she was for me.
Yeah.
And so I guess I went to her trainings. I crewed for her, like I literally followed her around like a little lost puppy, because I literally was.
True.
And I saw what she did, and even though I couldn't for myself go, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could do that? Because I'm like, I know it's hard to believe, but I'm actually very shy. And so I couldn't see myself up on stages talking and training in front of people. Like, that was just the weirdest thing in hell, to be going like doing what she was doing. But I loved watching her and I loved listening to her. And so then having those conversations with her and her saying, well, why can't you? And I was like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know. And so starting to have that thought process drop, and then me to, I guess, start that imagination to go, wow, could I do that? And then I remember this, I decided, I want to be there for women the way that she was for me. And so my thinking was, I'm going to empower 1 million women. That was my thing. Sounded really cool. I'm just going to empower 1 million women, which was really awesome. But I was just not long, on that path and stuff. And this guy said, I don't even know where I saw him at. I think he might have been doing my tax or something. I was trying to get my tax in order because it was just a mess. And he said, well, that's really stupid. He was like, I want to seduce 1 million women, but that's not going to happen. And it's like, bro, look at you. Like, you're not going to seduce 10 women, let alone 1 million, and I so can. And so it was just that whole, that thing that went, oh my God, there's people who actually don't support. That's an insane thing. But to have somebody go, well, you can't do that. That's just really stupid. To go, oh, well, you're a dick to start with, and you're not a very nice person if you're not even going to support other people who are doing stuff. So it was a really interesting place to be for me to realize that not everybody is going to see what I want to do and be able to go, oh yeah, that's awesome. So I guess that's where I got that realization. Oh, it's coming over here. That's where I got that realization. It's like, oh, okay, so maybe this is something that's just for me, and for me to continue to roll that through, rather than everybody getting what it is that I'm doing. So was that your question? I don't know. I forgot you. What was your question?
It was just about how imagination played, and if it played an integral role in taking you from where you were at the time, obviously prior, but just going forward and getting to where you are now. Because you said that you wanted to empower 1 million women, but yet why did you go this route as opposed to, I don't know, trying to jump on television and do things that way, or trying to be a sports woman again? Because not many people know, but you were actually um, ridiculously talented at baton throwing. So why did you not go back down that route when you knew that road? You knew what it took to get to that elite level, and then you really could have been another sportswoman. But why did you choose this field as opposed to that field again?
I think that my work ethic, in terms of where I was, probably wasn't there because I was a lot older. And so when I was a lot younger, having that work ethic was completely different. And I think my work ethic now is still high, but it's different. And so being at that point in time, having to go back and start from the very beginning would have been a challenge, because it would have taken years and years and years and years, as opposed to being able to sit with women now and share my story and help them in that particular way, was able to move it a whole lot faster. Being on television never was something that I thought about, because I'm shy. So, and again, it's really weird, I know, because I'm like on Facebook and live and stuff, and I do trainings in front of strange people and all that sort of stuff. It just never occurred to me, I guess, to go, oh, well, I can get on television. Like, that's just a really odd next step for me. I was like, so it's not something that I have imagined for myself. I don't know.
No, awesome. And so no, I just think that that's different, and why I wanted to bring imagination up is simply because as when we get older, we don't rarely do we use it as much as we were when we were kids. But just if that's played that integral role, and obviously as time goes on, the imagination will change in which direction you might go. So I just wanted to see if that played a role, which it obviously did.
And I think it needs to, because we need to keep imagining bigger.
Yeah.
Because we will imagine it and then get it. And then, as you know, it's a very fine line between imagining and getting it, and then doing it really well and being the best in it, and then imagining bigger again.
Yeah.
So, like for me, it's always about, I wanted to run training programs, and because I am incredibly shy, and so one of my things was I wanted to be able to run my own trainings like Karen Smith did, and I do that now. And so it was really about getting really good at that. So I could run a 2-day training on trauma, awareness of the brain, what happens in your body, trauma, all that sort of stuff. So I could run a 2-day program now without notes. I could literally rock up somewhere tomorrow and just run something, because I'm that well versed in it, and I know it. I know my stuff so well that I'm able to do that. But that's come with a lot of work and a lot of years being able to get to that place. And so now I'm imagining the next thing. So I'm looking at now coming more into the online space and the imagination about what that will look like. Because a lot of our stuff is just all organic. We don't really market or anything like that. Yeah. And so it's about, okay, so stepping into the imagination of the next level to go, so what would me playing in a bigger space, what would that look like? And so having the imagination of that. Hi, Sabah. So having the imagination about that and getting into that while not losing what it is that we're good at. And you know what it's like yourself with chasing bright, shiny objects.
I do. As I said before we started, I would be Michael Phelps at chasing shiny objects if it was an Olympic sport. So it's really that like knife edge of trying to really be innovative using imagination, but then not going too far and be like, I want to do all these things. And like, if you're a person who can, like, because I know one of my friends, she's absolutely brilliant. She's able to juggle like 3 to 4 businesses, kids, business meetings here and like international kind of stuff. Like, she's just absolutely phenomenal. But for me, I'm coming from where I was before to now, I really can't focus outside of my lane because I don't have the means just yet to be able to fulfill those requests within myself. So if I wanted to take up, I don't know, selling antique goods on the internet or whatever, I don't have that, and then it would take away from the lane that I already have, where like it's just again it's that knife edge. So it's brilliant that you found that, and obviously you're able to play with that and use it to your advantage within your lane for sure.
Absolutely. And it's about staying. I stayed in my own lane. I still stay in my own lane. Like I've stayed in my lane for a long time, perfecting my craft. Because for me, it was all about the user experience. For me, it was all about if you come into my room, you will leave transformed. And anything less than that was just not good enough for me. Now, everybody's transformation is different. But the thing is that everybody will leave with something more than they came with, because otherwise it's just a waste of time for them to be there. And so that was my thing about continually getting them to a space where they knew that when they came along, that they were going to get something that they were going to leave with. And that's why we don't advertise, because people come back because they know that that experience is going to be something. I'm going to leave with something. And I don't ever get that arrogant that I think that it's about me. I'm the messenger that shares that stuff that they have shown up for, and they're ready for me to share that with them. But that's not, that information comes through me. It's not me. I just happen to like show up and set up a room and stuff. And my belief is that my old people and their old people had a conversation, and they're like, hey, can you get your little girl there to say this, because this one needs to hear it. And she says, okay, sure. And then so I get the idea to say something, and then I do, and then their old people's like, cheers, thank you for that. So that's what works for me, is that the 9 people who are on here listening, their old people have been like, what, them fellas, them 9 need to get on and listen to them fellas talk stupid because they need something. So everybody will have left here with something, whether or not it's one word, whether or not it's a concept. Chloe's leaving here with some books and some ideas about where to get information and stuff from. She was absolutely meant to get that. So her old people said to our old people, this girl's going to get on and she's going to hear that, because she needs something that you fellas are going to say to her that gets her to that next place. Great. Yeah. It's not up to us to go, so Chloe, this is what you need to do. We just go, okay, so do you want some books or not? Jump on Spotify or not? So it's about us providing that information for people, and then people doing with that what they choose. Because then we can get out of our ego to go, this is all about me.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Oh my gosh. I'm so, like, look at me, how brilliant I am. That's not us.
Well, then that brings me to another point, which is brilliant. And I've had to deal with it. Obviously, it's with men, it's like, it's huge. But how do you control your ego when it just when people say, nah, it's just not for me? So like, how did did your feelings get hurt? Did you say like, fuck you, like I'm doing this anyway regardless? Or do you use that as fuel to the fire to be like, okay, like reverse engineer and be like, okay, why isn't it for this person? Like, just because it may not be for this person doesn't mean that it's not for this person over here. So how do you keep your ego in check when you had all these emotions running through, swirling up inside you?
Couple of things with that. I think it's human nature to be sad when we get rejected, because that's part of it. And going back, if you've come from, because how we choose our partner and how we deal with life and how we show up with our relationships is based on our attachment as a child. So the trauma that we've been through as a child and how we have attached to our caregivers will have a lot to say about our relationship. So you will have some people who will be in relationships, they will absolutely be like, you go, you do you be amazing, all that sort of stuff. You'll have other people who go, I need to know where you are 24/7 because I don't trust other people. It's not that I don't trust you, I don't trust other people. So it would be pretty clear to say those people have issues with attachment. And so being aware that unless you've healed your core wounds, and you're going to have emotions around that in terms of, attachment trauma or attachment issues, that's going to happen. I think that one of the big things when it comes to me running training programs, or us running training programs, and people turn up, then people choose to be there. So that's a little bit different. I had applied twice to run a training program or to be a part of a training program in Canberra, and I got knocked back twice. And so we dealt with that last week. Now, the thing that's really interesting about that is that I was asked to put in for it on the second occasion, said, please put in. So I did, and then got knocked back again because they went with another agency. So the reality is that that's not meant for me, and I will not put in for that a third time, because if I go back a third time and I get rejected, then that's on me.
Yeah.
Also understanding that those people are not meant for me anymore. What I think happens a lot of times also is we get to a place where we heal and we get so comfortable in the old stuff that we just want to stay there. And whether it's the old people or the universe or God or whatever you believe in, they're trying to say, no, like that door's closed. And we just stand there and we keep trying to open the door and we keep trying to go back, as opposed to going, we need to go to somewhere else now.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that 2 times was me saying, that's it now. That's, them old people were saying, you, like, Sissy, you're done now. Like, let's move on. Like, like, come on. And me going, oh, but I want to go back there. Like, it's comfortable. I know that. Like, oh my God, rejection is redirection. Oh my God, I love that. I love that. It so is. And so it was really about me going, that's not for me anymore. And I'm not putting myself in that situation anymore because I need to go and do something bigger. And if I keep circling back around to that, then I'm just going to continue to be in that space, because at some point in time, we need to step into things which scare us. There was no fear in that at all. I, again, could have done that with my eyes closed. And so somebody else who's out as a part of that program needed to get somebody else, not simply me. And so I'm okay with that. Having said that, like, I was still like, oh my God, so they didn't want me. Like, how was that? How was that possible? Because like I'm nearly a doctor, so I know a little bit about trauma. I know like a little bit about it, because my thesis is on it. So it's like, really, like, you don't want me to talk about trauma? So okay, like whatever. But then it was like, you know what? That's me getting to practice what I live and what I teach and what I breathe every single day, to go, this is not for me. And so checking my ego made it easier for me to go, this is not about me. This is about them, whoever they are, needing something different. And this is about me moving on to something else.
Well, then, which this is brilliant. So we'll keep going on this.
Yeah.
And how did you said you use the words like comfortable and wanting to stay in that arena of comfortability, if that's even a word. How did you step into the fear, and how did you use that to motivate you and propel you forward when it's so simple and easy to try and fight? Because you could have easily lowered fees and then went off everyone else to try and get that job for which was comfortable for you, knowing that you were done an A+ job. How did you step into that fear and be like, I'm going to go in search of something else that scares me, because one, it's unknown and it's new, but two, it's like this thing that I'm searching for could really help me grow and then go into that next level?
I guess it's really about knowing that, living the core values. And as you know, and I'll say it for those who are watching, with your father and I, he's very much the lighthouse. So he's stable and he's centered and has been in the same job for like 10 years and stuff and just stays there. I'm like the ocean. I need movement. I need creativity. I need to move. And so getting to live my core values in needing something that's going to push me out of my comfort zone is something that I'm used to. Yeah. And so if I'm aware of that, then I'm able to go, I know that's done its time, because I'm living my teaching. So, this is the stuff that, when I'm either doing programs or if you're doing one-on-one sessions with me and stuff like that, this is the stuff I teach. So I get almost a reminder or a refresher to go, actually, this is what I'm all about. This is how I live that. And so that's really about going, okay, so this is what I need to do, knowing that we all need to step up, kind of like that spiral. We all need to go up to that next level. And so the next level for me is in the online space. I know that. So I need to finish my thesis. I know that. And then step into that online space, because that's, even though we do stuff like this, being seen as the authority online and selling online and doing online workshops and all that sort of stuff, completely new. I don't know, I don't do that sort of stuff. I mean, we can sit here and talk mess for an hour and, I do a video and all that sort of stuff. But stepping into that next space of doing it online is completely different. So it's like, okay, so that's the thing where you go, okay, I'm going to do that thing. And then being able to step out and know that that's the right time for me to do that, because I don't know that much about it. So getting that, and for everybody, it's even on like a health and fitness journey, it's like getting into the habit of getting to the gym, and then once you're there, then it's like eating different food and then incorporating the workout so that it becomes a part of the everyday life, as opposed to something you think, shoot, I haven't been to the gym all week, I better get there quick, let me send you a message and be like, hey, can I come in? And you'd be like, yeah, okay, and then forget for 2 weeks and then come back again for a day and stuff, as opposed to going, you know what, I can up level this to go, I'm going to make this part of my schedule, and I'm going to to do that, and I'm going to commit to it and make it a priority in helping me up level every single day. And so, does that answer your question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does, and it ties into the next question that I want to ask quite brilliantly. You just use up level probably about like 8 or 9 times. So how did the relationships how did your relationships change for the better, worse, or indifferent? Like our relationship kind of hasn't really changed. I do my own thing, whatever, but the relationships with Nan, the relationship with Dad, and like how did those relationships change, and the intimacy between each one, like not like just the intimacy with me and you, how did that change with Dad, with Nan, with the rest of the cousins and rest of the family? Because when you're up leveling, you're you're shifting the ground because an earthquake is happening. So how did how did that happen? Like the contrast between all relationships.
I think it's important. Fantastic question. I think it's important to realize that when you decide to shift, or when I decided to shift, or when whoever watches this decides to shift, it doesn't mean that other people are going to shift as well. And so what happens a lot of times is, you decide to go on a health kick, or you decide to stop an addiction or whatever, and then you just feel so great. You want to sing the praises, you want to drag people along, like you just love the whole thing. Like you start a business and all you do is you talk about the business, and everybody else is like, why? Oh, we're not going to even talk to her because she can talk about that business thing again. And like you're just so in love with life and so happy, and you just want to share it. And they're just like, we're not even going to answer the door because we can see her come. She's going to talk about that thing. And so it's important to understand that just because you have decided to up level and change doesn't mean that other people are. And so my relationship with Mum hasn't changed from how she is with me and how I am with her, but I am aware that I am still seen as her baby girl. That's exactly how it is. So she still doesn't really know what I study. She thought that me becoming a doctor meant I was going to be able to like take blood and stuff, and I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm not, no. Okay, well then I don't understand. And so to talk about, look, I'm a research doctor. No, so I don't even talk about it. Like nobody else in the family is interested in what I do. Healing is like what I'm really good at, and no one in the family. Huh?
Is it disheartening when you're going through all this and like not so much where you want everyone to run and beat down the door to ask you about it, which fucking be awesome if they did, but just going through like maybe one or two, or at least have the family show some interest? Is it disheartening?
It sometimes it is, but having the understanding that they're having a relationship with me, they still see me as Doogie Little Karen. Like I'm still Little Carrie. So, like they don't see me as anything other than that. So it's hard for them to go, oh, so she knows this stuff. We're going to talk to her. I mean, no one has asked about it. And I've, put a couple of comments on people, on cousins, and, had conversations to say, well, I can help you with that, right? Like, like I know a little bit about stuff. I can help. And people are like, because they still see me as Doogie. So they can't see me as anything other than that. And so, it's any time that I try to make it something more than that, then I'm going to be the one who's disappointed. So they still see me as just, Little Carrie. And I need to be okay with the fact that that's how they see me. No one in the family's been to any of my trainings that I've run. I mean, I run here in campus, so, no one else lives here, so that's fine. But again, it's that whole, I'd love to come and see what you do. Well, nobody has. And so again, it's because they don't see me that way. I'm still just like their Doogie sister or daughter or cousin or whatever. Which is fine. In terms of your father, it's kind of like his contract that he has to be interested in what I talk about, because he doesn't really have a choice, because him is always wanting me to be better, to get better, to do what I love, to be happy. That's exactly what we want for you as well. And so we sort of, again, we live that. He's always excited about the fact that, like I could decide I want to roll leaves up and sell them, and he'd be like, that's awesome, that's great, like where are you going to sell them, at the markets or whatever? So he supported a lot of my harebrained schemes that I've had, but he thinks that that both of us can do whatever we set our mind to, because that's he sees us as we are, but also how we can be. And I think that that's why it's really important that when you go through that that healing journey, that you find a circle that you can be in that will support who you are becoming, not who you are or who you have been.
Sure.
And I think that's why AA works so well, is because people find a group of people who are able to see them for not only who they are, but who they are becoming. So they are becoming somebody different than who they were when they were drinking or smoking or gambling or whatever. And so having the understanding that you need to be able to get in a group of people who are talking through you about who you are becoming. And so if you're running a business, it's why it's so great. And sometimes you can't get in those circles. So podcasts are fantastic, or, books or online groups, or, Facebook, Instagram, all those sort of stuff. You can actually get on and be a part of something where people are having those same conversations with you, which is incredibly important because, we talk all the time about, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. And if you are the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. Now, it doesn't mean that you say to the group that you're in that you're the smartest. Look, I'm the smartest here and you fellas are all dumb. So, Eldean said that I need to go and find a new group because you are just all dookie, and so I'm just going to go over here. Like, don't be that person. You just be like, okay, so, yeah, I'm going to hang with you fellas, but I'm going to go over here because I do this thing. And so, you can absolutely do that and not be an a-hole about it, which is important to do, because some people do that. Oh my God, like, you're just so below me right now because I'm on this new path. And then your friends are like, go on, you're going to be back. You're going to be back. So I don't know where that accent comes from, but like, they circle back. And then next minute they're like, look at you, thinking you're all that in the bag of chips, So you can have different, pockets of groups that you hang out with and learn from, and still not poo-poo all over the group that you came from. But don't expect them to be different than what they are, because they can only be how they are and who they are. I can't expect my mother to be any different because that's how she's been. Now, if she was on if she was on like a healing journey, or she'd started a business or whatever, then we could have those relationship conversations because she's doing something different. But she's doing her life, which she loves, and it's not up to me to go, oh, well, that's just like, I don't like that and stuff. So it's about having the understanding that you need to meet people where they're at.
How much heartbreak, time and energy did you put into that? Because obviously it's not just her, but it's everyone's journey where you're wanting them to be different, but they're just not on that path. They're not in that lane, or they may not even be on the road driving yet. So how did you deal with that when you're like, fuck, give me your hand, like I will put you on my back, I will take you to where you want to go, but more importantly, where you need to go? How did you deal with that?
Oh, I had my Jesus moment. I want to be the savior. I want to save everyone. Praise Jesus. Like this. I want to save everyone. And then it was like, I need to save myself. That's pretty much how it was, because the pain of trying to save people who don't want to be saved was just a whole waste of energy. So that was, in the beginning, what I wanted to do. And it's pretty much the same with anybody. Like, reformed smokers are the worst because they're like trying to get everybody to stop smoking. It's like, just because you want to give up, don't be coming at that with me because I don't want to. Like, same with, people who give up alcohol. It's like, oh, you know how bad that is for you? It's like, get away from me. And even people who start a fitness journey, they go, do you know how many calories are in that Big Mac? It's like, shut up and get away from me, because I'm not interested in how many calories are in it.
All of them. All the calories. Yeah.
Well, that's it. And again, I just like get out of my face, because I don't want to, because I'm not there yet. When I'm there, I'll come and ask you and be like, so let's just not get one of those Big Macs, or let's walk past and smell it, or whatever. All of that. But it's understanding that, you need to not be trying to save people, because they're not there for it. They're not ready for it. And, that's on them. And the reality is that some people are not going to heal their stuff in this lifetime.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, yeah, I've come to that realization. One, in like going through school and stuff, you get that, and it looks different there. Like past relationships, it looks different again. So it's just, everything is just masked different. As we know, there's no new energy. Everything is just remasked and refaced. So, like, it's difficult. But did you take lessons in that going forward where you're able to see like, okay, so and so is not. I have a cricket right here. Ready? Yeah, done. Yeah, like this person seems like Joe Blow from when I was 19, so this is how I deal with him. Have you encountered much stuff like that?
Yeah, and I think that you always will as you up level. You very much see things, because like I can talk to somebody and I can pretty much tell what their story is within about 3 minutes. So I can tell what's holding them back. I can tell what's going on with them. Like I can do that very quickly. I don't ever offer unsolicited advice though.
Why?
I don't. Well, because it's not my journey and it's not my place to do that. When I used to run leadership training, and I would say because I would run it over 5 days, and I would say to them, do not come, because we're in a leadership program. Mm-hmm. And I say this in my trainings as well on trauma, do not come and have a conversation with me if you are not interested in knowing about your stuff, because if you're going to ask me a question, I'm going to be honest with you and I'm going to tell you what I see. What you do with that is then up to you. But you may not like what I tell you, particularly if it's something that I see, that's my opinion, that goes against what it is that you believe. And so I very rarely had people come up and say, can I ask you a question? Because I was very honest about a lot of things. And one lady in particular came up and said, can I ask you a question? I was like, sure. Are you sure though? And he's like, yeah. And so he asked the question and I was just like, that's just you, and you're putting your own roadblocks up and you're afraid to step out, and so you're going to continue to play small for the rest of your life, and you know that you're laying on a nail but you're just happy to lay there and moan about it, and that's just going to be the rest of your life if you don't do something. So do something, for God's sake. And he was like, oh, okay. And so you can come in for the rest of the training. Now, he did go on and change some stuff, which was great, but it's very much about that whole, I don't give unsolicited advice unless you ask for it, because you need to be ready. Because I would sound like an a-hole if somebody come and be like, oh my God, life is really hard. And I'd be like, well, you know, that's just a story, and I can tell you where that came from. I can tell you how to heal that, so you need to do it. Because people would be like, oh my God, who's she? Don't ever talk to her. Don't ever go near her again because she's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, and so people need to be ready for that. And so that's why, you know, doing things like this is great, because we put it out there, and then if people want to reach out, then they can. You know, you do the quick start program that gets people in for those 2 weeks to get started, and you get coaching around that so that you're working on the body as well as the mind. And so, you know, people can go, oh, I like that, I'm going to do it. Or they can just come and do a workout and that's all they get.
Yeah.
And because that might be all they're ready for, and that's great. And so it's just being available with different things for people to go, actually, I want a little bit more of that. Can you tell me that? Because once people know stuff, they can't unknow it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then, so it's, I got a quote here that I took from that podcast as well. It's that each one of us is a different point of view in retrospect to the situation. So, like, it's, well, I think that just speaks volume, but everyone's just winging it in life. Like, no one's been here. No one can remember being here, going through everything. So it's like, we're just trying to work with what we got, and your situation looks different to mine. Mine looks different to Dad. Dad's is going to look different to a 6 or a 7-year-old. So it's really just trying to find an understanding that, look, like, we're all just winging it. So just go out and just like, yeah, like if they want your view on things from where you are, and your experiences obviously lead you to the knowledge that you have, awesome. If not, like, that's awesome too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And people will want to dip their toe in. like you'll have an encounter with somebody who'll come to one class, or you might have an encounter with someone who'll send a message, and that's it. That's all. And until they're ready to circle back, and it might take them a month, or it might take them 6 months to circle. Then you might have someone who'll come to one class and then they'll go missing for 2 months and then come back to a class. Or you might have someone who's just like, I'm going to be there like every week. That's it. I'm there. I love it. I'm ready. Boom, let's go.
Yeah.
And everybody's at that whole different place. And it's about still continuing to show up so that people can pivot around you when the timing is right.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for people, is to have that constant, to know that Demos is going to be there when I'm finally ready to do that, or Demos is there every week, and Eldean's always going to be on, and he's going to be there, and if I need it, I know that I've got it, because he's not going to fly the coop next week and be like, where did Demos go? Oh, he's gone selling antiques or something. So it's about being that lighthouse, I guess, so that people can be like, yep, when I'm ready, he's going to be there. And then people will circle back to you. Like, nothing happens for no reason. So everybody who crosses your path is for a reason. Everybody who, watches this, and it might be for 5 seconds, they come on and go, oh my God, who are these two fools? Or they might be like, oh my God, I need to stay here. There's 6 people who are on, who I need to stay here for an hour and 26 minutes and listen to these two, because there's something that's valuable. And so both is perfect. Like, love that you're here. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you're getting value out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's perfect because there's something about this that each of you need to then take on the rest of your week, or the rest of your month, or whatever. And so that's why I never say to people, oh my God, sometimes I will talk about, when people say, oh, what do you do? And I'll say, oh, I'm like a coach and counsel, and, I've got a fair bit of knowledge in trauma. And then they go, oh my gosh, that's great. Like, I have some stuff. Can I talk to you? Or, do you have programs? Or they just go, okay then, bye. Like, see ya. They don't want to talk about it. Okay, that's fine too.
That's definitely
whatever works is fine.
No, so that's pretty much like I had a little bit of notes here and stuff like that, but everything is like we really covered it. Like we covered a little bit, even though we didn't go into too much detail.
Chloe, can I just wrap her up in like cotton socks and candy cotton cane or something so cute, because I'm glad it was helpful. See, Chloe was here because she was meant to get something, and which is fantastic, and she's going to get books as well, because it's just I love to give stuff.
Chloe brings me on to a really brilliant fact. So, not fact, a question. So we've kind of dove into a little bit of how you've handled defeat, and I was watching an interview by Kobe Bryant, RIP, to the GOAT. So the question was posed to him was, how have you dealt with victory? So for me personally, it's a really weird fact when people come and they say these amazing and wonderful things like, I feel so much better. Like last episode where I said things like, I was drowning and I really painted that picture. People were like, oh my God, I get that. But I haven't quite learned how to take that on and then give that appropriate answer going forward. I'm still trying, I'm still winging it. But how have you dealt with people when they legitimately broken down in front of you and they've looked you dead into your soul and say, you have changed my life? How do you deal with that, coming from where you are and being so humble, but not using that to get a big head, bigger?
Well, I guess it's something that I'm still working through, because I don't think it's me. And so I think that the messages come through me because your old people and my old people have made it happen. And so that's how that happens. So it's really about, yes, that's true. And if I was to go, actually, no, I'm not doing this. Actually, no, I'm not going to show up and talk about that. Then that wouldn't happen. So it's a really interesting space to be in, when getting to the point where I'm grateful to be able to be the vessel to share that information, and being grateful about using the tool that I have, which is my voice or my presence, or, sharing here for Chloe, like, I'm so incredibly grateful that I can be here to share this, and not rest on that and get a big head to go, oh my God, I'm just the most amazing thing. Because we're going to get on here again next week and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Because if we get caught up in having a big head, we will miss out on bringing the best of us through so that we can help people. Because it's not about us. Like, we can be good at what we do. I'm damn good at what I do. But I also know, I also know that I get good at what I do because this needs to come through me to help somebody else who is drowning.
Yeah.
And so I tell people occasionally that I have completed or almost completed a thesis. I generally don't talk about that very much because for me, it's just the thing that I do. At some point, like, people are going to know that I'm a doctor because I'm going to have like doctor, but it's about what you get from me from doing that. I would say, people say do a PhD because of who you have to become to be that. It's exactly the same as start a business, or make $1 million, or make $100,000, or make $50,000, whatever it is that's out of your comfort zone. Make that because of who you have to be able to achieve that. So you've started a business. So who you had to be to start that business and show up every day is completely different to the Eldean that was laying in the lounge here through COVID, ordering Uber Eats at 12 o'clock at night. Completely different person. I love both of him, like I do, but that was a completely different person, like two completely different. So who you had to be to open the doors to that business was completely different. So who you will have to be to go to that next level, again, will be something completely different. And so I think if we get caught up in our own ego, because you can be good at what you do, and Michael Jordan and Kobe and all that sort of stuff, they're notorious for talking trash on the court, because that was a part of the strategy. Like, you need to try to psych the other person out and see who's better and stuff. And they know, everybody knows who the best was because it's shown in your actions.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you how I am, because I get the messages from people, and I'm saying it now, but people generally don't know, getting the messages from people when they say, thank you, that's changed my world, or thank you so much for sharing that. Or even Chloe said, this whole thing has been great for her. That's fantastic. That's well worth us spending an hour and a half here talking about this, because Chloe's going to get a better week out of that because of it. So we show up and do what we do so that we can help other people. And then it's a reset for, okay, so who else needs the gift of what it is that we share? Because if you're like, I had a great week last week, you know what, I'm just going to cruise this week. I'm just not even going to worry about my clients too much. They'll be fine because I was great last week. They'll be like, you got no more clients, because everybody will be like, well, he sucks, I'm not going back there.
Yeah, true.
So you continue to show up and you continue to help people to elevate, because literally people become great because they stand on your shoulders. And so you elevate them by being grounded in the core values and grounded in the skills that you have to then go, you know what, I'm going to help people get to that next level, whether that's, on your shoulders, or whether or not you give them a hand up or whatever. I think that, you being great at what you do, people know that, and so they will continue to come back because of that. And you don't need to tell people that, because they will just know. But if we get caught in an ego, people will very quickly know that it's all for show, and that's great for a minute, and then they'll be like, well, actually, like, he's just, arrogant or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not really that good. Melissa says, God bless those shoulders. Look, I've seen the flexing. They're a little bit wide. Mine are not quite that wide yet, but it's true. Like, he's elevating them, which is fantastic, because people can see what's possible because you go first.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. But I think that's why it's great to get in those circles of people who are more skilled than us, because we get to check ourselves very quickly. To go, I've got so much to learn, and I've still got so much to learn. Like, I was reading some more. I've just downloaded another course that I'm watching on EMDR, because clearly I don't have enough tools and stuff, and I haven't spent enough money on courses. So it's like, what else can I learn? There's always something that we can learn. There's always something that we can do better. There's always something that we could use to perfect our craft a little bit more, to help people get the outcome, because that's always the end goal, is to help people to become better, have more, live better lives, be healthier, be happier, fulfilled, whatever that is, because that's why we do what we do. For us, it's never about the money. The money's great, because we all need to eat, because you can't go to Woolies and say, I'll pay you with love and kisses, because that's a crime. So you absolutely need that, but that's a byproduct of being able to show up and give your absolute best, and your skills and your knowledge and your experience to help people. So I think that there's there's a difference in that. So for that's the long-winded answer, but it's just about not resting on that last victory. It's kind of like that basketball game you won last week. You can't be like, well, we won last week, we're just not even going to try this week. They'll be like, yeah, just like, last week's gone. We need to show up this week and win, and we need to show up next week. And And
how do you, and how have you continued to push that note and continue to pass the buck when, correction, not pass the buck, but continue to push the buck in your lane, when you've had those first 5 people say, look, you've changed my life? And then how did you get from 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, when those 1 or 2 people could have been it? Obviously, you said, like, you don't want to, last week's victory doesn't win today's battle, but how do you take that mindset? Was it something that's been ingrained in you? Did you have to train it like a muscle, or do you just think like, no, I have a fuck ton more to do, and just keep pushing it? Like, what's your take from that?
So I think it very much is about just, you need to keep going, because like, you can't just rest on it and be like, oh, that was great and stuff, because it's not about me. People are still in pain. People still have challenges that they're fighting, and it's almost like with great gifts come great responsibility, or something. It's
great power comes great responsibility.
That one, that's right. And so it's that same thing. Like, I can't rest on that, because again, I don't think that I'm in this space for no particular reason. So therefore, I need to be able to continue to share that, because I want to leave a legacy. I want the legacy that I leave to be bigger than just me. So when my great grandkids are running around, they can go, oh, well, my Nan or my Mima, she didn't just be like, do one thing. She's done all of these cool things, and we now have choices because of her. And so that's what I want to do for my family. And then I want that ripple effect, because I want that for other people to be able to see that that's an option for them as well. And so if I was to rest on that, because your father, because I'll be submitting in June this year, and so then that's it. And so your father said, "Are you studying again?" It's like, can you just give me 5 minutes, like, because
breathe, my God.
That's it. Like, I need a little while, because like, He's like, maybe you should become a professor. No, I shouldn't. No, I don't want to. So it's just about continually going, there's a whole lot more stuff that I can do. And so what was the question?
Resting on laurels.
Yeah. So you just can't. You just need to keep going, and you need to know that there's always people who can use your help. And it's selfish. If you have, that's kind of like you having the cure to cancer and not sharing it with people.
Yeah, big
like,
facts.
well, that's just,
Big
that's
facts.
nasty. Yeah. It's like if I've got something, if I've got one thing that can help you and I'm not sharing it with you, well, then that makes me an a-hole.
True.
That doesn't mean that you don't make money off that and you don't pay for that, because there's thousands of hours that have gone into me having that one thing. But then there's also free content like this. We shared a whole lot of stuff this week, and last week was gold.
And then not even mentioning like the other stuff that we've done before. So it's yeah definitely, like I definitely understand. So that question was for obviously for the viewers and stuff, but it's like it's drilled in the army and broader military as a whole, is that like you don't rest on your laurels, because when you do, that's when shit hits the fan. Like when you've won something, when you've gone to battle and then you've won that's when your guards drop. So that's when, as a team, you're most vulnerable. So it's not until you get back in like, and I'm just like, I don't have any experience in it at all because I never got deployed, never had the chance. But it's once you get back, and then it's like, okay, we can have some time to chill and rest and relax, have a little bit of some downtime. But it's when it's time to go again, it's time to like strap up and let's get out and after it.
And you have a look at those who are great, those who are the goats, and even in their off season, they still did not do a thing. They still did stuff. They would have still trained, or they would have still. Now it might not have been to the height where they do it in the thing. I'm not entirely sure, but they still have done stuff. And you've talked about. I think it was Kobe who went on holidays and was still getting up at 4 o'clock to do his things so that it didn't interfere with family time. And
I definitely, and so yeah, that story was one that will stick with me forever. So he was in the off season. He took his family to Disneyland in Orlando, and it was off season, so he needed to practice. So he'd get up at 4. He'd train from 4 until 6. He would spend the day with his family, and then at night, once he put like everyone to bed and stuff, then he would go and hit another training session. And then he did that. So it's that, but it's also training looks different. Like if we're going hitting the same thing every day, it's gonna get mundane. There's absolutely no imagination, and then the body is the one of the most marvelous things in the world. So it becomes efficient in finding the path of less resistance. So it's like, okay, cool, I can cheat this. I only have to skim this and find out the most major words instead of getting everything needed. So while those from down here, like the bottom tier kind of people look up at those 1%ers and those goats, like they go hard and balls to the wall the whole time. It's like, yeah, there are times when they need to do that, but yet training looks different every single time. It's like this time I'm giving my body some time to relax, and then I'm training my mind. I'm going through different plays. I'm studying film. I'm studying what I do. I'm studying what plays. I'm studying the actual game itself. So it's all about one, and like we've halved on. I think this episode is almost like brought to you by the word imagination and stuff like that, because it's all about trying to innovate and then stay one step ahead of the game within yourself, but within the game as well. So like if your body's starting to break down, it's like, okay, I know for myself I can't do the same things that I used to when 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I couldn't do the same things when I was 18. Now, if I sleep wrong way for 30 minutes, my week's going to be jacked up. Whereas I could sleep on my head when I was 17, 18. So it's all about what works, what doesn't, and then again, just trying to find those new innovative ways to stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. And I guess that's part of the thing as well, is being able to understand that things look different and being flexible in how you show up, in how you do things, and having the understanding that the flexibility in being able to pivot is going to be the thing that's going to help you to go, oh, actually, I can't do the things that I used to, but I can do things different now, and I can do things maybe better for me now.
Yeah.
Because I can't do what I used to do. So therefore, how can I do it different and still get a better outcome or a different outcome or something that's going to give me what I need, as opposed to going, actually, no, it's just too hard. It's too hard. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's just it. Like, it's all about the different perspective of things, and it's not like different doesn't always mean bad, and the loss doesn't always mean that you've. Like I said, a defeat doesn't always mean that you've lost. It's like, okay, cool, I can come back and I can work on the things that I've mucked up, but then go back and avenge that later on. So
Post-it notes were the greatest failure ever, because mate was trying to get the glue, and he was trying to make them like sticky. And
I said I would say golf balls.
Okay.
But yeah, you tell your story now.
So he was the lad who made these. He kept trying to make it so that it was sticky, and it kept falling off. And he was like, "Oh, this is useless. Like, that doesn't even stick, and it needs to stay against the wall. Like, what's going on with it?" And then somebody was like, "Oh my God, I love these because you can move them around and stuff." And then he was like, "Oh, that could be a cool thing." And the next minute, love them. Love them.
So yeah, so with the golf ball, how that the design came to be. So originally they made the golf ball like smooth, and it was just horrible and horrendous. Where after a couple of times, I started to get bumps and bruises and stuff like that, and then it come to find out that it was actually a lot better when it was smashed around, and it's got those dent and bumps and bruises and stuff, and it's the design that's here today. So it goes to show that you can come back different, better, but when you do come back, you're not starting from the bottom again. You're starting with the knowledge that you had after the loss and defeat, so that way you can come back, use those, and integrate those into your new strategy and move forward.
Do you know that golf stands for gentlemen only, ladies forbidden? So originally golf was a gentleman's only. I use the term gentleman's only because they weren't allowed to have women there. So it was a man's only game. And so they called it golf, and that still stands today. So I think that we should be just changing that, because that's still very sexist. Even though they let women now onto the court, I still think that that's just not cool. But that's a whole other conversation that we won't even go into, because we're almost at like 2 hours. I can't believe that people are still here listening. I love you guys.
Pick your battles, Karen.
What? It's true. Like, why would they call something gentlemen only, ladies forbidden? Like, it's only been like 30 years since women could vote and stuff. Like, just 30? No, it's a little bit more than that, because that's like your lifetime. Like,
yeah, no, it's well,
it wasn't long.
When was the game invented? I'm sure that they were doing a whole lot worse stuff when the game was invented than just naming that golf.
Well, that's right, because back then women would get married, and then as soon as they got married, they would have to give up work, because as soon as you got married, you weren't able to have a job anymore.
They were probably still lynching people as well.
Oh, I know. Well, why are we even talking about this? Because you said we weren't going to start, because we're like, 1 hour and 50, and then we're going to go down.
Battles. Pick your battles. Pick your battles.
Do you want to go into battle over it? Let me take these units off.
What I'm talking about. So we're just about at 2 hours. So let's actually make it 2 hours, and then we can cut this into 2 parts because it's just a long ass time. So if you, in closing, what would you want to tell the people, like going forward, whether it's you want to start with the opening of a business and you see the imagination of, okay, I want to make 100,000, I want to make 2, 5, $1 million, or the other end of the scale is like, well, I just want to be a better loving partner and mother to my kids and those in my family. So what would you say to going forward, both sides of those?
So from the business part of it, I would say go with what you already do so well that people say to you, oh my God, you're so good at that. Like, what is the thing that you love? Because if you have to do it day in and day out, you need to love it. Yeah. And so if you're going to go and do something that you don't love, it's going to get tough. Because there are days when you're going to be like, if I see one more book or if I see one more boxing glove, I'm going to throw up. But that's going to pass because you love it. And you're like, you know what, it's just a fleeting thing because I remember how much I love this. Whereas if you hate the thing to start with, it's going to be really, really tough. So go with something that's something that you could enjoy doing if you had to do it for the rest of your life. You don't have to do it for the rest of your life, but go with something that, and probably something that is an interest for you is always really important. Find great mentors, find people who've done it before because there's nothing new out there. So you can take processes and strategies and policies and put them into your business. So absolutely do that. Don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, you can listen to like Gary Vee. Like seriously, the man has gold.
So good. And for the content that he gives, oh my God, like I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, like he's just so good at it. In terms of being happy and healing and stuff like that, I would suggest that people start with where are the areas that you don't like in your life. So what are the areas that aren't working? And pick one that you can work on. Do not pick every single area. Like if you're starting on a health thing, don't start with exercise and then start with the mindset, then go with the food, because you're just like after a week, you've cut out sugar and flour and anything with flavor. You've decided that you're going to do 4 sessions a day. Then you got to drink 7 liters of water, and then after a week, you're like, you know what I've done? I just want to eat a Big Mac, 7 pizzas, and I'm just not going anywhere near the gym. So I would suggest start with one thing. So start with one area. And get okay with that before you then bring in something else. So, because it's like a muscle, like we've said, it's a muscle you need to build. So pick one, whether or not it's fitness or whatever, whether or not it's your relationship, whether or not it's money, whether or not it's your kids, whether or not.
Very true.
Huh?
I said no, like everything that you're speaking at the moment, like it's true, and especially for myself, like when I had no idea what I wanted to do when I wanted to start a business, but leaving the army really taught me that like I don't want to be in a position where others are controlling my future because of the fact I've seen guys that were like, no, I really want to try, and like you hear stories all the time where units won't release guys for whatever reason, if it's medical, whether guys were trying out to be special forces, some guys even pass selection, and then like I've heard stories that the unit just wouldn't let them go, and because the unit has the final say. So you're right, getting into the business, and I've been involved in boxing since I was 13 years old, and then even younger for basketball. So it was really like almost a no-brainer. I fell into something that I love, which is basketball orientated, because I use it for fitness. But those two are just both are interchangeable. And then we're just thought, I love fitness. Boxing is exactly that. Boxing helped save my life. So let's see if I can save others through the means that saved me.
That's right. And even moving away from it. So what do I absolutely hate right now?
Yeah.
So because if you're moving away from something, you're still moving towards something else. So,
100%.
I absolutely hate whatever, or, right now I just can't stand the fact that my pants don't fit me. Okay, great. So then what can I do about that? Like, what's the one thing I could do about my pants not, well, I can start going for a walk. Okay, well, let's start there. Or
True.
So starting to think about what can't I absolutely stand about my life right now, or even if you're in a job, what do I absolutely hate about my job? I don't want to get into that areas, but then you can think about, okay, so what do I absolutely love about my job? Because there are some people who are so good at organizing stuff, to-do lists, they construct stuff out the wazoo. Like, they're amazing. That's not me.
No, definitely not.
So think about what it is that you're willing to do, but also what are the things that you just have had enough of, because you will get to a point where I've had enough of that. I've absolutely had enough, and then I'm not going to do that anymore. That's it. There will be a line in the sand for everybody, and you're going to get to that line in the sand a lot faster if you can figure out what you can't stand already.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's brilliant. Like, I think it's cool to start with either end of the scale and then just reverse engineer it. Like, if you hate sitting, and which was like exactly me, is I hated sitting in front of a desk. I don't know how many times I'd done it, but it was you and Dad were telling me, you need to get a job. This is easy, and then you can do this and transfer. And like, we didn't know what we know now, but it was okay. I'll go and ride this desk for a while, and literally, it was just the worst. But yet, some people in that job stay there for like 30, 40 years, and I remember thinking to myself, if I stayed in this job for 30, 40 years, I wouldn't make it, because I killed myself at 5. So then it's like, cool, like how and what can I do? Let's reverse engineer it. What's then like the opposite of that? Going out in the army where you're sleeping out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere for 6 odd weeks. Awesome. And then it's like, okay, let's reverse engineer, because I have my end point when I left, was medically discharged from the army. That was my end point. Let's reverse engineer. And where I am now is that I'm the owner and operator of my own gym moving forward. So it's like, I have that power now, and it's solely on me, not someone else, when I was in the Defence Force, because even to take a couple of days off, you had to go through 8 or 9 sets of hands. And then if it was spelling mistakes, it had to travel back through those 8. You had to then do it again and resubmit it. Whereas now, if I want a day off, champion, I'll make that decision. Like obviously the ramifications will be what they will be and totally look different, but like the power is and stops with me now.
Yeah, that's right. And that's it. You get to make those choices and make that call. And it's always that balance of, there's a whole lot of benefits that come with people having a job that they stay in.
Yeah.
You're going to get a paycheck every fortnight. Like, that's it. You get that security, where you're going, what's happening. You can be very good at what you do. You can be very high up the ladder. That's fantastic. Because not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to start a business, and that's fine. On the other end, it's that almost the rush and the adrenaline to go, I have no idea what's coming this week. I have no idea. It's all on me. I've got to get my business stuff. I've got to get clients. I've got to make it work. Otherwise, I don't eat. And so it's that whole, for some people, that's just amazing. For some other people, that's their idea of fresh hell. Like, why would you do that when you can get a job and not even have to think about it? Like, you just check your bank account and second Thursday, boom, there's money. Oh, wow. Whereas if you're not doing the work, you check your bank account second Thursday, they might not be done for them. That's it. Or there might be like ridiculous amounts there, So it's that whole, it's either or. Like it can be, and it doesn't have to be like the but. It's whatever works for you. It makes you happy, then do that. If it makes you happy to stay, do that. If it's like, do a little bit of both. Do what makes you happy. That's the thing. If it makes you happy, do it. If you're not hurting anybody else, because don't hurt people, because that's not cool. Then do that. But figure out for yourself what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what lights you up, because you want to be able to bounce out of bed every day. If you're dragging yourself out of bed going, oh my God, I hate my life, I can't do this anymore, something's got to shift.
True.
And for a lot of people, and we're at the 2-hour mark, I'll stop, but for a lot of people, they have functioning depression. So there's no joy in their world. They're literally going to that job because they've been there for 20 years. The idea of doing something else is just too much because it's not that bad, but it's not exciting. So they literally are functioning with depression because there's no joy, there's no spark, there's no happiness. It's just a rolling. Every week looks exactly the same as the last week. And that's just a torturous, slow death because nothing changes. There's no highs or lows. It's a literal, this week's the same as last week, the same as last year, the same as the year before. And I wouldn't want that for anyone because there's so much joy that we can have in our world. We just need to be brave enough to go and find it, identify it, shine a light on it, and then be like, you know what? Let's figure out how to do this.
Yeah, there's a quote that I heard, and obviously after these two things, I'll wrap it up. But it said that most people die at 35. They just get buried at 70. Yeah. And so it was really profound when I heard it because it was like, man, like I hadn't heard it put into those contexts, and I could really feel it when I was in those moments of sitting in front of a desk, and then like understandably I was shit at it. Like I wasn't gonna be any good because I hated it. So I can understand how that quote is applicable. And then again, we've touched on it so many times, going back to the imagination, and really just because when was the last time that most people just imagine something for the sake of it? Like you look at kids, like who knows what goes on in their head? Like they're just imagining 24/7. And then that's the same thing that I tell my clients. It's like, you look at kids and they do things just because they want to do it. Whether that's they want to doo-doo in their hands and then put it all through their hair. They want to know what it smells, feels like. Whereas adults, like we need to have things structured in place. Like I need to do this and that. Not that there's not a time and it's applicable, but it's just we don't do things for the sake of doing them as kids do. And then we wonder why kids are just so happy, and then when they get older, they're not, and they're depressed and everything that comes along with it.
That's right, because kids will make mud pies and it'd be like pavlova, and they'll talk to imaginary friends and stuff, and that's all cute. But yet, when you're 17 or 18 and you're talking to imaginary friends and stuff, they're going, okay, what's wrong with you? We need to medicate you.
Let's put you on medication.
Let's put you on medication, as opposed to going, oh my God, you're creative and you're using your imagination. That's fantastic. How can we do that differently? And those Montessori schools, where it's all about arts and creativity and doing things different, they're seen as, the alternative, as opposed to going, let's help kids to cultivate that imagination all the way through, and then get into your job and then be like, so how can we do this better or different? Or, well, we've always done it this way. Well, why can't we do it? Because we've always done it this way, and that's what the policy says. Like, why can't you change the policy? Because we've always done it this way. So it's kind of like, rather than going, so can you come up with a different way? Wow, that's amazing. Let's be creative. No, not here. Not in this place. And, the way society works is very much about getting you to filter that creativity so that you just be like, nope, not today, not here, not now. No, we can't have
very,
that.
Very, very true. No, I get all that. Most definitely.
Cool.
So how about we wrap it there?
I know. Hopefully everybody's got some value. Thank you so much for being here. Like, you stuck with us for a long time. Love you all.
Let me just jump on and see who actually is, because man, like, if for those people who stay for the 2 hours, oh my god, that's absolutely.
Can we see who they are? Do we ever get to?
I don't know. I think there's one, and I'm probably the other one. So.
Okay, so I can see that from Demos Boxing there's 5. I've got a couple, so I don't even know how.
I don't think so. But anyways, we'll wrap it there, and we'll give a big shout out to those people, and thank you for.
Oh, Melissa, you're still here. Oh, how beautiful! We love Melissa. So, and hopefully, and Bronwyn's still here. Great baking background noise. Oh my god, what are you baking? Is it yum?
What are you baking? Man, wow, we're actually 3 people stay for like the whole, man.
I know. And
Nat, man.
Oh my gosh, and Anne-Marie's here, and Bronwyn, and oh my god. And Chloe's here. Oh my god, it's just amazing.
You guys. You have a great week too. Nah, we do. So if it's chocolate, Bronwyn, do not bring it down to my house, because of course
chocolate
it is.
chip cookies. Oh, really? You're saying no to chocolate chip cookies? Oh.
I am. I have to. So anyone who knows me, and I've actually told everyone at the gym this: don't buy me chocolate, because I'm a bloodhead.
With the favorites?
I had to give it away. Why didn't
you save it for me?
Because do you know me around chocolate?
Oh,
it's like heroin for me. I will sniff it out. I will sell a kidney for chocolate if it ever got that bad. I wouldn't give it to my father. I'd sell it for chocolate. So if anyone listening wants to be awesome and get me a gift, give me fruit. Give me watermelon. Give me rockmelon. Give me frozen grape.
Get him. Chocolate is fine.
Send it to your address, but no, I can't do chocolate because I just can't do it. So yeah, we'll wrap it there. As everyone here knows that we could talk forever, but if you guys found this really interesting, let us know. Like, whether it's through demos here. And not peanut butter, big facts, because I will throw hands with anyone. Win, lose, or draw, I'm throwing hands over peanut butter. So, yeah, just let us know if you enjoyed tonight. Hit us up on any means. And, yeah, like if you loved it, awesome. Tell us why. If you didn't, that's even better. Let us know again why. And then we can just go from there. We can continue to do what we do. And are we on Spotify yet?
No, I'm still organizing that. We're nearly there. And also, if there's any particular things that we covered that you want more information on, or
definitely,
that you want us to never talk about again, that's fine too. But if there's stuff that we mentioned tonight, like we should never ever mention peanut butter again. Thanks, Melissa.
Don't do that.
But yeah, if there's things that you want us to talk about, you'd like us to go into more information about, happy to do that. If there's stuff that you found particularly interesting, let us know. If there's other stuff they stop talking about that, for God's sake, let us know that as well. Because we want these to be fun and stuff, but we also want them to be educational, informational, and stuff that you can get to help you have better lives. So
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
He's awesome.
Again, thank you so much for you guys tuning in, and big love to everyone.
Yeah, cool.
Laters.
See you. Bye.
See you. Bye.